Welcome to Doomscroll. I'm Matt Sheffield.
And I'm Lisa Curry, and today we are joined by my hilarious friend, comedian, writer, author, Corey Forrester. What's up, Corey?
That's right. How you doing, Matt and Lisa? Good to be here. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
glad you
being
could
here.
make
It's
it.
great to see you.
It's good
Yeah.
to be seen. Not gonna lie, it's nice. I'm a new father, and I only see my wife and my baby, and whoever I talk to on the internet. So it's nice to have new people in my screen.
Whoever I
Adults,
talk to on the
yes.
internet does sound like it could take a turn.
Yes, that's.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the story. There's a lot of political news this week. So Nikki Haley, the Republican presidential candidate, and basically want to be number 2 to Donald Trump, seems like. She wrote in her autobiography that she gave her husband a new name while they were in college. She claimed that he went by Bill when he was younger his whole life, and then she was like, I don't think you look like a Bill. Why don't you go by your middle name instead? And he accepted it. Michael.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'll be honest with you, when I saw this on the rundown, I thought it was like we're about to find out that this Republican, hopeful nominee gave her husband like some sort of salacious nickname, like he was like Long Don Silvers. But you're telling me that this sociopath was just like, you know what? I think Greg for you would be good. Like that's
Yes.
Well, I
And
mean,
she said this herself. Like, that's the other thing. Like, normally, if shit like that happens, normally that's not something people would want to get out,
I
I
think she
assume.
wants to let us know she dominates the relationship. She's like, this is how much I decide things. I gave him a new name and he obeyed.
it's also so clear that she was destined for politics because it's almost like she was like, no, I ran Bill through a focus group and it doesn't play well. Okay. Like, my name's Nikki. If you're Bill, I just don't like what that says on the wedding invitation. It's a little vanilla. All right. We live in a happening world, baby. You're
Yeah.
Vladimir now. You're Vladimir.
Well, yeah, and that's the other weird thing about it. It's like, if you're gonna just start renaming your boyfriend, which he was back then, like, why not come up with something other than like fucking Michael? Like, there's like a zillion Michaels in this world.
But
Right.
you could go
Spider-Man.
Michael, Mike, Mikey, Mike Rooney. I mean, I don't know.
Mikhail.
Now I'm making up. Yeah. To be fair to her, I'm like, I don't. Bill's like your doctor. I don't know.
I will give a little bit of credit to this dude or defend him a little bit. I remember when I was in college. Well, I was never in college because I'm an idiot, but when I was the age that college was, when I should have been, when all my friends and people with more aspirations were at college, I was so desperate to get laid that if a lady had come up to me and said, "Hey, you're Kunta Kinte now," I'd be like, "Yep, that's me." I would have gone with anything. So like, it's probably just one of those situations. They were in the courting phase. He was like, I don't give a shit, you crazy lady. I'll do whatever. And then it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, I can definitely see her doing this because she's the kind of person who, has been running for president since she was 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, why she should never become the president, I'll add.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. And of
Well, it
and of
seems like.
course, oh
Oh, I
no,
was
you can
going to
go.
say,
You
it
can.
seems like we might have a reboot of a past presidential term. President. Listen, I don't speak English anymore. I've stopped. It was too laborious.
I
So
feel very bad
the
for women, Lisa. Can I tell you? I've always felt bad for y'all, but like, I obviously hope I live to see a day when there's a female president. I would like to know that I live in a country where that could happen. But every single time one runs, they're just the most batshit insane lady that's ever been. Like, there's never one where I'm like, all right, because then, like, she'll run. And my dad, who's a conservative, I'll be like, oh, this Nikki Haley, she's bad news. He's like, oh, I thought, what do you mean? You're a progressive. You don't want a woman? I was like, not any of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can't just be all women. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna run and I'll fix that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other weird thing though, is that so this is actually the second story of a Republican connected woman renaming her husband.
I love it.
which is like, isn't that just awesome? Like the party of, that claims we're the party that will keep women in their place, and that women's place is in the home, but then the women are actually renaming the husbands. And so what I'm talking about is that Ron DeSantis, apparently his whole life he pronounced his last name Ron DeSantis. And then his wife Casey
Like
told
D
him that,
apostrophe Angelo, the singer.
yeah, something like that, yeah. And
Ooh,
so
I
he
just
pronounced it.
imagine Ron DeSantis on the cover of that D'Angelo record in the shower, and I didn't like that.
Oh God.
Sorry about that. Horrible way to start your
Uh,
day.
Yeah, but it's like, and so she started making him pronounce it DeSantis, and now that's what everybody calls
Was
it.
that, do
Uh,
you think that was a move in the sense of like, if you're saying DeSantis, people are going to associate you with D Democrat? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that
Mhm.
was and I'm being serious
mm.
because like these are psychopaths, but like every little bit helps though. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, well, no, they are like Republicans are fucking amazing at marketing. Like
right.
they leave the Democrats in the dust
For sure,
when it
dude.
comes
And
to
we suck
media
at
and
it.
marketing.
Because like
Yeah.
it's really a testament to how good of a candidate Barack Obama was that his middle name was Hussein and he was like, leave it. You know what I mean? We'll roll with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, and like that, he was such an exception to the rule. All these other people that were running that year, like they couldn't hold a candle to the guy, and
Right.
then
He won because he was a lizard
Democrats.
person, but
Well, and then the Democrats learned nothing from him at all after that
mm-mm,
point, and so
mm-mm.
it's now why we're at this state now where so many people are like, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump because he's funny.
There's too many people in this country who aren't affected either way by who the president is, and those people are the loudest because like there are a lot, like I've heard my mother-in-law say a lot of like, well, at the end of the day, like she'll be like, everybody's talking about politics, this and who's going to run for president. I'm just like, it doesn't really affect me one way or the other who's the president. And I'm like, I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't. You don't vote for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But like all those
Yeah.
people who truly, if it's not going to matter one way or the other, so they get to just vote based on, that old, like who I'd want to have a beer with more. Yeah. And like, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. If I had the opportunity to hang out with 2 hours with Biden or Trump all day, just because like, I feel like again, if it's inconsequential, like I'm going to be more entertained. Like I'm going to have to spend the whole time with Biden going, I never thought it was a joke, sir. I don't know why you keep saying that. But like with Trump.
Or making him wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Like
elbowing him
Trump,
in the ribs.
like you're good. We've all got that uncle that like we didn't want to bring them in front of anybody else. But when we were with them by ourselves, we're like, God, this guy's fucking hammering it today. He is hilarious.
Yeah, you don't want to leave him alone with your kid. But
no, absolutely not.
You definitely pound down a few.
But if you had to start a podcast, you'd get him on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's saying shit like back to Ron DeSantis. He called him Meatball Ron. I'm like, that's my favorite.
It's great.
That's amazing. Yes,
if he could Ron. If Trump could just not run and just be a guy who just torpedoes the rest of everybody on the Republican ticket, God, I'd love this guy again. But that's not the reality.
Yeah, no, he should have just been an insult comic. Like the world would have been so much better.
That's right.
Yeah. He could be on track also to win again because the Iowa caucuses are coming up and he's polling pretty well.
Oh, he's gonna win. I'm not. Yeah. By the way, anybody listening and you hear my accent, it might sound like someone like me who says Trump's going to win, that I'm coming at it from a jovial perspective. I'm not. I don't want that to happen. But like,
you think he's going to take the presidency as well as a nomination?
I think if he gets the nomination, unless something changes big time between now and then, because like I know a lot of like the worst thing that's going to happen is not that Democrats will go vote for Trump. It's that they won't vote. It's that they'll be like, really? These are our options again? 2 geriatric patients going to hang out with the modern woodman at the Golden Corral. This is what I got. Well, I'm just going to stay home because I'm going to vote for one of them, and they'll be either one. They'll be dead in 2 years of office. So like, yeah, I'm worried about it because like nobody thought that he would win the first time, and I knew because That year I'd traveled the whole country and they're like, no, this guy's a joke. I'm like, okay, maybe to you, but I'm telling you, people are into this dude, and Hillary's not campaigning in the places that she needs to. And that's another thing you mentioned earlier about Democrats not learning anything. We don't. Like, the Democrats still have just decided, all right, the South is a wash. We're not even going to try, even though Georgia is purple. You could get North Carolina if you try. Like, there's so many of these states that are like right there, but instead you just see the toothless son of a bitch with an accent like me, during a tornado watch and go, well, I can't win that guy, so fuck the whole area,
Yeah, I agree with you. The lead up to the election in 2016, I was on the road all over the Southeast. And I got to the weekend before the election, I was in DC, and I had brunch with a friend of mine who worked in politics in DC until the election. And then she was like, fuck this. But who worked in politics. And I was like, hey, I'm really worried that Trump is going to win. Like, I was just in the Carolinas and Georgia and Alabama and Louisiana. And I'm like, there are wall-to-wall Trump flags. I'm not seeing any support for Hillary. And she was like, there's no way he's going to win. That's ridiculous. The Electoral College will never let it happen. And then I texted her on election night. I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, we're all crying and drunk at the office. I don't know what the fuck.
They just didn't pay attention, dude. We had our own show on Sirius in the lead up to the election. And me, Trey, and Drew, and I was the only one of them. They were like, yeah, we've seen the same things you've seen, but like, surely not. And I straight up said, I said, guys, y'all just go ahead and prepare. Trump's going to win. Dude, the phone line shot up. People call me an asshole. I'm like, guys, I'm not saying what I want to happen. I'm telling you what will happen. Because as you said, like, listen, I'm not saying that yard signs are the end all be all to determine who's going to be president, but they clearly mean something. Otherwise they wouldn't use them, right? They're not wasting their money on them. And it wasn't just seeing it in the South. I'm in Colorado. I'm in Maine. I'm in anywhere. It's when I really had to tell people, I was like, y'all look at it as a north-south divide in this country, and it could not be further from the truth. It is a rural versus city divide. And there's a shit ton of rural people who are more energetic right now. And for the record, a lot of these people were actually fired up for Bernie, and then you threw him out, put Hillary in, and they didn't go to Hillary. They went to Trump. You know why? Because fucking Bernie went to Kansas and gave a shit, and Hillary didn't. And she called him deplorable, and it was ball game.
I'm with you on that totally. Like, when she made the deplorables comment, I was like, it was just exhausting, because I'm like, yes, obviously we fucking agree with you, but you're still campaigning for their votes too. It was like exactly the people that had progressives that were so mad that Trump only wanted to lead the right are like just not paying attention to Hillary having been like, well, the left is mine.
Right.
I'm going to lead you. Well, it was so crazy.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that, Republicans, they literally are spending millions of dollars promoting. Like a lot of times people talk about voter suppression stuff, right? But there's another side to the Republican strategy, which is voter depression. And so they literally spend millions of dollars paying off people like Glenn Greenwald or Breonna Joy Gray to go out there and, say, oh, there's no difference between the parties. They're all the same. Nothing matters who is the president. And like, and there's a lot of low information people. They believe that shit when they hear it.
Low information people.
No, that's what they are. Because like the idea that a guy who is running for president, who is literally saying on the trail, I'm going to build concentration camps for illegal immigrants and put them in them, and I am going to pardon people who committed treason. And there's no difference between the parties. What the fuck is wrong with you if you think that? You're stupid. But there's just a lot of dumb people, and like Democrats, they think everybody's out there watching PBS and reading their New York Times, and it's like, no, they're not. You got to go and fucking talk to people. That's what you got to do, and you got to go to them where they're at and talk to them what they're thinking about.
And we don't do that.
Yeah, I say that a lot. I'm like, because I'm from a really small town, and I know a lot of people that are just not racist and homophobic and whatever. They're just not plugged into the new, like, real news. And I'm like, I try to explain to people, and I'm sure you probably feel similarly, Corey, where it's like there's so many people in rural areas that are just working 70 fucking hours a week at their shitty
Yeah.
industrial job, and they're just trying to get by, and they come home and they turn on whatever local news. They're not doing these deep dives. They don't know.
No.
They're just getting snippets.
No.
Dude, when Trump ran the first time and everybody's like, how could these people vote for him after he, called Mexicans rapists or whatever? I was like, dude, most people that I know didn't even hear that, because the only place I saw it was Twitter. And yeah, these people don't understand that, like, some of these people, like you said, they're working 70-hour weeks, and then they come home and they've got, not only they got their kids, but like their son's a meth addict, so they're raising their grandkid too, right?
Yeah.
And they're not even watching the news. They're just throwing whatever on TV to pacify the room so that they can sit in their chair for 2 seconds and have a dip, And so, like, yeah, and I'm not justifying willful ignorance in any way. Like, there's some people who do have the time and could learn more and choose not to, but there's a large, because of the state of this country, and then these people are sick, and like they don't have time to give a shit, or it's not that they even don't have time to give a shit, like there just isn't enough time in the day, like you said, to do these deep dives. Like, they just see surface level
it's a luxury
stuff. Yeah, they just
luxury.
see surface level stuff. And so many of these people are one issue voters. And unfortunately for us, their issue is fucking abortion. And as long as Republicans have that for them, they're going nowhere, because they will justify a whole lot of stuff, because they're like, okay, I hear you, that's wrong, but like, if I vote for y'all, I'm killing babies, and I can't do that. And it's as simple as that. Like, I don't know what to do about it, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Tell them don't vote at all. How about
there?
That?
You go. I have. And by the way,
to
some of my people's credit, I know plenty of people who voted for Trump the first time didn't vote the second time. They didn't vote for Biden. They just were like, I can't do this. I agree.
Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba,
I love this so much.
She did an interview, and she basically said Donald Trump hired me because he thought I was hot.
And she said, I'd rather be hot than smart. And she said something to the effect of like, I can make up being a lawyer. And I'm like, well, you kind of can, I guess.
Yeah.
You
could go on YouTube. You could read a couple books.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen, who's famous nowadays, but like, I think I'd take being hot over being smart. I'm lucky to have neither. So I would just take one of them, and hot would be good.
Yeah. Oh, and Kim Kardashian is getting her law degree, actually. So
well, a hot person
didn't she just fail the bar for like the third time?
Oh, I don't know.
She repeatedly failed.
I actually mute Kardashian in my Twitter timeline.
But you can achieve, like, a hot person can read a book, but an ugly person is going to have surgery. You know what I mean? So like,
that's expensive. It's free to read books.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just go get smart. Who gives a shit? Memorize stuff.
Yeah. Although, when you look at the legal arguments, though, that Alina Habba is making, though, I can believe her saying that she would rather be pretty than smart, because everything that she does just goes down in flames, except for with that one judge down in Florida that Trump appointed.
I will say Trump doesn't really have a reputation for surrounding himself with smart people, especially lawyers. I mean, Rudy Giuliani, give me a fucking break.
Unreal, man. What an absolute heel turn. I mean, that guy, like, dude, just go.
He was hot, though.
Just gorgeous guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Just go.
Well, hey,
I mean,
sorry, it had to be hot. It was hot when that makeup was dripping down his face.
Yeah.
If I ever have whatever the comedian equivalent is to becoming America's hero during 9/11, I'm quitting after that. Like, I'm riding off into the sunset. Like, dude, like, you're the mayor during 9/11. You bring the country together. You get George Bush out. He burns a heater right down the middle during a Yankee game. You're on Seinfeld. You're on Saturday Night Live. You're doing all this stuff, and then you gotta hang out and do some Trump shit. Just leave, dude. Like, he could have just had a podcast or a show on CNBC and been fine.
and
Yeah.
then he
You would
just
not
declared
catch me showing up at
bankruptcy.
work with that much money. You would not catch me, and I love comedy.
I don't have opinions anymore. I don't go anywhere. I'm hanging out with my son, and we're gonna give golf a shot. You know.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'll do it for 70 mil. If anybody wants to shut me up, you just wire me 70 mil. I'm out. I'm done with the
Dude,
whole business.
I live in rural North Georgia. If you gave me $70,000, I could take 5 years off. You know.
Yeah.
True. So Britney Spears, she has her fans have been begging her for years, once she got out of her conservatorship,
To put the knives down.
well, there's that. But
God,
she has said definitively that she's not going to come back to the music industry. And you know what? Hey, I can't blame her. I mean, Jesus.
her autobiography, and I'm like, I wouldn't be in any kind of entertainment at all. I would.
I mean, she's got money,
read
right?
Everything. Yeah, the shit she was put through is so psychotic.
It's
and
bananas.
It's so hard to wrap your mind around, like with them taking her kids away from her and not letting her take her IUD out and like monitoring her eating and making her take all these pills and stuff. And I'm just like, it seems so crazy to me too, because I'm like, it feels like something from a bygone era. It feels like
it's like old MGM shit.
Yeah, and it's
like Judy Garland.
It's really it's really heartbreaking because it's like she has, God bless, she has arrested development from it.
Right.
You can tell she's like, she has not matured in the same way women or people mature over time when they're out in the world. And I'm like, if I were her, I would just be like, throw my phone into a river and be like, I'm out. I'm living in a fucking hut in Fiji. Goodbye.
Her fans should be lucky she's talking to them fucking at all. Instead of just being like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go live in Tibet for the rest of my life. Go fuck yourselves. Thanks for the money.
Yeah, and I mean, if she did like have a yearning to get back to doing music, like luckily for her, like she's got such a platform, and the business has changed so much now that like she could do independent shit. Like she could pay to have her own album made, and then she could stream it herself. So like, it's not like she has to go back to Capitol Records, but like, yeah, but with her, like every single facet of the music business has a memory associated with her, and it's fucking traumatizing. Like I can't imagine, you know, what that's like. And it's been really fucked up because it's like a double-edged sword. It's like they didn't let her control her money, but then they did all this fucked up shit to her to make her go insane. And then you see her and you're like, well, shit, I don't know if she can handle her money, you know, like fuck, I don't know. So like
it's also like the thought that she can't handle her money, but Nick Cage can.
Right.
The guy's buying T-Rex.
That's a great point. Well, yeah, like, and that's the thing too. It's like, I'm sorry, but like, even if she can't handle her money, she's an adult. She has every right to blow it on stupid shit and go bankrupt. Yeah. Like,
it's not your business. Yeah.
Right. They let me control my money. I used to fill up squirt guns with piss and blast my sister in the face with it. You know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't be. It's like, and I get to do whatever I want. Like, I got a house and a car.
Yeah. Well, but you know what though? Like, it is actually the case that these conservatorships, women are actually a lot more likely to be put into them.
Of course.
And you know, like, and it's bullshit. So just, you know, that old meme of leave Britney alone. It's always true. I'm afraid.
It's honestly amazing she's still with us, frankly, because you look at the parallels, like I said, between her and Judy Garland, or like a Marilyn Monroe type or whatever. Yeah. And it's like the fact that she is still here kicking and saying all this stuff is like, man, she's stronger than me, because I would have fucking flipped out, dude. I would have stabbed a motherfucker a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That would have been my first thing, to go on a murder spree.
Yeah. First thing they did to me. Stab, 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 stab.
Yeah. She's got the knives.
Yeah, she does.
But you know who also probably wants to do a murder spree is pretty much everybody. Everybody associated with the Barbie movie.
Oh, is that
after
right?
After the Golden Globes.
I saw the clips last night.
See, my segue was so good there, Lisa. You couldn't even see
what happened with the Barbie movie. I thought Barbie won for something. It didn't win nothing.
It was like a consolation prize, basically a bullshit thing.
Jo Koy, look, I usually defend comedians in all cases, but I'm also a writer, and he went up and hosted,
That
and
was
it was
bullshit.
clunky as fuck, and he threw his writers under the bus, and it's like, man, they work for fucking. I don't care that you were hired 10 days ago. If you weren't up for the job, don't do it. And it's like they write for fucking weeks, if not months, leading up to this.
Also, the joke that he told that made him go on that tirade that quote bombed, it got a laugh. Like it got as much of a laugh as you get at award shows. I think that he's just so used to like doing these stadiums filled with his fans that scream, that when it didn't get a, oh, Jo Koy, let me jerk your bald head off and rub it on my, like he was like, what the fuck? Because like somebody goes, Jo Koy bombs and goes on this rant, and I watched the bit and I was expecting crickets, and it was like they laughed. They laughed. It was a decent joke. You know what I mean? And like, but yeah, it's like move on to the next thing, dude. But when he threw I understand, trying to think on your feet and deal with a crowd that sucks. But like, as soon as he said my writers, I was like, you've done it, buddy. Like that ain't it.
And then he kind of like went on to make some like, I saw the Barbie movie. It's fucking incredible. It's laugh out loud funny. It broke crazy records with earnings.
Yeah, it's great.
And like he just made like a couple of sexist comments about it and then moved on. And it's like, I don't need you to talk about how good the movie was because you're telling jokes, but it was just lazy. And
you're literally there to read the note card.
What movie beat it? What movie beat it though?
The best picture
Oppenheimer
for comedy was
fourth. Best picture for comedy.
Yeah.
The Holdovers didn't win.
No, it was Poor Thing. So
I don't even know what the fuck
Barbie
Poor Thing is.
Win. I didn't even see that. So
well, I didn't see it, so I can't say. But I will say that Barbie was awesome. But it was super awesome. But like, if the Holdovers had have beat Barbie, at least something I'd seen, I would have been like, okay, well, it was very great. But like, I don't know, dude. At the end of the day, though, like, it's not like Greta Gerwig's going to be hurting because of some Golden Globe snub. She made a fuck ton of money. They're going to let her do another one,
Yeah. Well, it's true. And, but I mean, I some people, I think they thought that the ending, that the show, that Barbie kind of collapsed at the end.
Right.
That was a criticism that some people said, that it just kind of repeated itself over and over too much. But whatever it is, like I mean, these are just your opinions of whatever.
It's
movie
subjective.
Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Who cares?
Yeah, because if it had won every category, now we'd be dealing with the fallout of people saying the only reason it won is because Hollywood's so woke that they just let Barbie win. So like, it's kind of a no-win situation. But now I got to see this. What's this shit movie that you said won?
Poor Things.
Well, now I got to see that so I can come back on this show and tell y'all how wrong it was that Barbie got screwed.
Yeah.
My only question from the Golden Globes was, who was originally booked that Jo Koy was the pinch hitter here?
Was it? I heard Chelsea Handler, but it doesn't make sense to me that she would have canceled.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. That's
weird.
Maybe
that's
she not booked a weekend
story. At the Improvs.
Yeah, dude, if I was a comedian, I would genuinely rather do a weekend at the Improv than host the goddamn Golden Globes, because it's really a lose-lose. Like, it's a lose-lose. Like, if Jo Koy hadn't have done what he did talking about the writers, like, he'd still be getting shit on for like it wasn't a really good show. Like, you can't,
or some other thing. Yeah.
Like, the only person I've ever really seen go do the Golden Globes and come out where like most people on both sides were like, that's how you do it, is Ricky Gervais. Like, when he did it the first time, everybody's like, goddamn,
well, actually, no. You know who really is Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. Well, yeah,
dude,
okay.
He hosted fucking every award show.
He should be doing
forever.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was like you didn't even wonder who it was. It was like, what's Billy Crystal, and he's gonna fucking murder.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. But you know what though? But I'm glad you mentioned Ricky Gervais though, because like, he's one of these huge comics that's been around forever, who is constantly claiming that, my material's so edgy, I'm going to be canceled. I'm going to be canceled. I'm going to be canceled because I hate trans people. And it's like, this dude literally just won the
he
best.
He works more than anyone.
It's not real, and people like Ricky Gervais know it's not real. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's like I would love to be canceled like that, wouldn't you
Me
guys?
too.
Right?
I've been doing a whole bit about it. How like, you know, I was doing this thing about Morgan Wallen saying the N-word and then and he had literally had on record his best year last year. And the whole bit was like, can you imagine how great of a career he'd have if he hadn't ruined it by saying the N-word? And the whole bit, like Crescendo's is me being like, you know, as a human being, it upsets me that people hear someone say that and gather around them and it makes them more popular, because every dude that's like, I'm canceled, they play Madison Square Garden, they host Saturday Night Live, it's not real, and they know it's not real. They just know. It's just like we were talking about earlier with the politicians just saying the buzzwords and stuff. They just know as soon as they say the word cancel, there's a group of people, the Joe Rogan universe type people that perk up and go, oh, I have to like this person because they're talking about being canceled. And I'm required to only like comedy from people who think they're going to get canceled, have been canceled, or use the phrase anti-woke. It's so fucking tribalistic and goddamn stupid. And for the record, I love so many things that Ricky Gervais has done. I love all of his shows. I've enjoyed some of his stand-up, but like, he's a famous guy that started doing stand-up. It's never going to be the same as someone who came into the fucking trenches. But at the same time, I'm so fucking sick about the culture of comedy right now. Is all the top people in comedy, all they talk about is the culture of comedy. Tell fucking jokes. Just tell jokes. Quit going up there and talking about how I'm so edgy. Show, don't tell, motherfucker. That's the first rule of writing comedy. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it right now. It fucking blows my mind. And all these people that are like, yeah, they're suppressing my language. Here's $25 million and 5 Netflix specials. Suck my fucking dick, dude. I wish that I was suppressed.
That, and also, I'm sure this happens to you as well, Corey. I feel like every comic that's coming up that's like a journeyman comic like us,
right?
All people, you do a show, you fucking are home with your family, whatever. All people want to ask you as a comic is, aren't you afraid?
Yep.
Aren't you afraid?
And I go, no.
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? You just saw me do an hour. I didn't say anything salacious at all. And now I'm picking up my check.
But but even when I do, like, I had a bit about not long ago, and I say the R word in it, not just flippantly. The bit is about the R word, and it's this whole thing. And I'm not saying it right now. And I did it. And when I did it, I got like 3 emails from some people that were in the crowd complaining. Guess what I did? I ignored it. I didn't give a fuck. Like, it's like, you just like, because what they go, you can't say anything anymore. And it's like, no. You can't say anything and expect someone not to say something back. That's all it is. And if Twitter had existed in the 70s, they'd be doing the same shit to Richard Pryor. You mean to tell me that you believe in your heart that when 5,000 people saw George Carlin do the 7 dirty words you can't say on television, the millions of people watching at home, you're going to tell me that every single person watching that goes, well, we loved it because we're not soft? No, they didn't. There were plenty of people that hated it. It's just that in order to relay that information to George Carlin, you had to get down with a pen and a paper and write it down. And some people were like, you know what? I got to go to the mill. Right? If they'd have had a fucking computer, they would have said something. Nobody's more soft. Quit being a fucking pussy and do your goddamn joke. Like, that's what I'll do. I just do it. Well, it doesn't matter.
I fully agree.
No, well, and you're I'm glad you mentioned George Carlin, though, because like, he's actually the perfect example of a comedian learning to adapt to changing audience tastes.
Right.
Because like, this dude had like 3 different shticks in his lifetime, and he went through them, and after a while, he stopped getting a response from people. And instead of saying, oh, these people, there's something wrong with them, they don't like my jokes, he was like, no, you know what, maybe my act is old, I got to get some new jokes, I got to think about some new stuff that people are actually thinking about. And he fucking did it. And all these other, all these people that are, like 60, 70 years old, number one, you should fucking retire and go away. That's number one. Like, go fucking retire. But the other thing is, like, get some other goddamn jokes. We don't need to hear the same fucking joke for 30 years.
Or just accept your audience. Like, everybody's not going to like you. You know what I mean? Like, I do a certain thing on stage, and I have a certain persona, and I do certain jokes that, like, and my dad's always like, don't you ever think you want to do something different so that you can broaden your audience? And I'm like, if I could snap my fingers and have 10 million more people like me, sure, but no, I'm not going to change anything about myself. I'm fine with the amount of people that like me, and like, you either like my thing or you don't. And like, there's enough people in the world. You don't have to have everybody. Just have your fucking audience. And my audience likes what I do, and I don't give a fuck if you don't like what I do, because my audience does. You know what I mean? And I piss my audience off sometimes. 100%. And I respect them. Like if one of my audience members came at me after a show and was not being an asshole and was like, hey, that thing you said, I don't think you meant it like this, but it could be construed as, I've had that. And I would go, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you pointed it out. I'll change the joke. You know what I mean? But if it's just one person being a dickhead, like, hey, don't make fun of diabetes because my uncle has it. Well, tell him to have a Diet Coke and shut the fuck up. I don't care.
I think that's a good place to end.
Sorry.
No, you're right. I love it. I fully agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, so for people watching on video, they can see you are at bonuscorey.com. But where else should people keep up with you, Corey?
Just on all the socials, I'm Corey R. Forrester. But bonuscorey.com, that's my Substack. That's the thing that I love the most. I do all sorts of cool things on it. I write essays.
Nudity?
No nudity. No, I mean, I think my butt has made an appearance, like the crack of my ass or something. But I do full-length audio dramedies that I write, produce, do all the voices for and stuff. The last one I put up, I did a Southern version of A Christmas Carol that's available right now. I know it's not the season anymore, but I believe it will be one of your holiday classics if you listen to it. And videos and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
You can't say Christmas. You can't say Christmas on
Oh, that's my bad.
We're left wing. We have a war on Christmas here.
It's Oh, I know. I'm a 3-tour veteran. It's a holiday special. Yeah. So bonuscorey.com and or just whatever. Lisa follows me. You can search her followers. I'm in there somewhere.
And please follow me on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry for updates on show. I just booked a fucking weekend in Hawaii. So
hey, Blue Note.
Nice.
Something else, and I can't remember what.
Have you been? Have you been to Hawaii?
I've been a couple of times. Last time was with Jim Jeffries, so this will be my first time headlining. Yeah, I'm gonna make a trip out of it.
Yeah, you have to.
Awesome. And then all right, and then everybody make sure to follow at Doomscroll Show on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, all those places, and like and subscribe and all that shit. Do it because you need to and Jesus wants you to. So thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.